Have you ever wondered what happens when sanctions meet missiles? Last month, while sirens wailed across Iran, something bizarre happened. Instead of halting, Iran's oil exports skyrocketed. Even as explosions echoed in the background, tankers kept leaving port. And China? They kept buying, quietly, consistently. It's almost as if the sanctions didn't exist. So, I ask you, what if sanctions don't work anymore? What if oil isn't just energy, but leverage in a global tug-of-war? Today, we dive into the paradox shaping our world. Two countries, sanctioned to the bone, Iran and Russia, aren't collapsing. They're adapting, rewiring global trade, and along the way, rewriting the rules of the entire oil game. So, the real question is, who's winning? And are we even prepared for the world that's coming? Let's begin. Let's start with Russia. Before the war in Ukraine, it was the world's second largest oil producer, 11 million barrels a day, $180 billion in oil revenues. Oil wasn't just fuel, it was dominance. Then came 2022. SWIFT ban, sanctions, price caps, trade blacklists. The West pulled every lever it had. And in Q1 of 2023, Russian oil revenue dropped by 45%. A gut punch. Their export machine nearly froze. But they didn't collapse. Instead, Moscow turned east. They redirected flows to China, to India, to anyone who'd buy below the cap and pay in anything but dollars. By 2024, Russia's oil exports bounced back, over $192 billion in revenue, even while selling cheaper oil. So here's the question. If a nation loses Europe but gains China and India, is that really a loss? In June 2025, Russian oil brought in $13.5 billion. They didn't cut production, didn't lose global share. Why? Because for Russia, oil isn't a commodity. It's a weapon, a currency, a lifeline. Iran knows this game all too well. After the US left the JCPOA in 2018, Iran's exports fell off a cliff, from 2.5 million barrels per day to less than 500,000. Its economy bled, inflation exploded. And then came China, Iran's silent partner. From 2020 to 2023, Beijing bought up nearly all the oil Tehran could ship. But there's a twist. None of it went direct. It passed through Malaysia, through UAE, through Singapore, until it arrived, rebranded at Chinese ports. Is this illegal trade, or just strategic navigation? They didn't pay in dollars. They paid in yuan, in gold, in medical supplies. Iran didn't just dodge sanctions. They created a new parallel economy. While the West tightened sanctions, the East tightened its grip on cheap energy. China imported 2.2 million barrels per day from Russia. India, once barely a buyer, became Russia's #2 customer, importing 27 times more oil than before the war. So who's isolating who? And if half the world refuses to play by the rules, do those rules even matter anymore? Meanwhile, Western economies battle energy inflation. Factories close, households ration heating, while the sanctions keep selling, keep earning. Here's what the West feared most, and it's already happening. Sanctions once worked by controlling money. Cut a country from SWIFT, and you choke its economy. At least that was the theory. But now, China and Russia are writing their own playbook. Over 90% of Russia-China oil deals are now in yuan. The US dollar is being cut out of the game. Iran? They've been paid in gold, barter, and Chinese tech. They don't need dollars. They need shipping routes. And China provides both. If oil can flow without dollars, then what's the point of financial sanctions? China's banks now operate inside Russia. Moscow uses SPFS, its own SWIFT alternative, linked to China's SIP system. No need for visa, no need for Fedwire. We are witnessing a quiet divorce from the Western financial order and the birth of something entirely new. The oil underworld, ghost ships, and sanction-proof trade. And how is this oil moving? Through a fleet of ghost tankers. Over 600 ships, some rusted and flagged under Liberia, Seychelles, Panama. No AIS tracking, no fixed routes. Mid-sea, they switch names, swap cargo, disappear from radar, then reappear at a friendly port, reborn as legal crude. Is this smuggling or just smart routing in a hostile system? Iran mastered it, Russia adopted it, and China, they built the docks and closed their eyes. Western ports demand transparency. Chinese ports just demand delivery. And that changes everything.
So, what did sanctions really achieve? In Berlin, elderly citizens burned wood in their apartments, while factories shut down across France and Germany. In Eastern Europe, children wore winter coats in freezing classrooms. And across the EU, governments spent over 650 billion euros just to survive the energy crisis. Germany alone, 158 billion euros. But it wasn't enough. BASF, Europe's top chemical giant, laid off thousands, moved production to China. So who's winning and who's adapting? While the West fought with sanctions, Russia and Iran rewired their economies, built new trade routes, forged payment systems, turned ghost ships into a shadow network, and turned energy into resistance. Maybe it's time for Washington and its allies to rethink their strategy, not just add more sanctions, but question whether these tools even work in today's multipolar world. Because in this new era, power isn't about freezing bank accounts. It's about controlling supply chains, building resilience, and staying flexible through crisis. And if that's true, then what should we, the ordinary citizens, be preparing for? If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who still believes sanctions are a silver bullet. We'll keep bringing you more sharp, honest analysis right here. See you in the next one.